How y'all doing, guys? Brandon here. Welcome to Retro Dodo. Now, I have been asked these questions a number of times ever since the Analogue Pocket pre-orders went live and pissed off a load of people. And it's simple. What should I buy instead of the Analogue Pocket, and what should I buy while I wait for the Analogue Pocket? Now, two great questions, and I want to answer them both in this one video. There's 6 handhelds here that I think could be the Analogue Pocket killers. Now, I was going to pick one. I was going to title this video, and it probably still is the title, the Analogue Pocket Killer. But I know a lot of you probably can't afford the Analogue Pocket Killer. So I've picked 6 handhelds ranging from $30 all the way up to $300. So whatever budget you have, I hope this answers your question, because the Analogue Pocket is a lot of money. I spent $300 on an adapter, the Analogue Pocket, and $50 shipping, which is insane. And that can only play Gameboy cartridges. Don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely gonna love it. I'm gonna pick it up, I'm gonna review it. But for those of you that can't afford it or wanna put your money elsewhere, these are the 6 handhelds. And I'm simply gonna start with the cheapest, and then we'll get up to the big bad boy, which is $300. So let's start this video. First off, the $30 handheld. And before I jump in, I have done reviews separately on each of these handhelds. So I'm not going to dive in with gameplay on each one typically, because you can go into the specific reviews in the description box below, and you can see these handhelds in even more depth in a separate video. So this one here is obviously a Game Boy Color clone. It's only $30. It has 300 games built in. Popular games, Super Mario, you name it, Kirby, it's all on here. It has a 2.7-inch display, AA batteries just like the original Game Boy, which gives you 20 hours of battery life. And as you may have seen on the back there, it supports Game Boy and Game Boy Color cartridges. So if you want to play Pokemon on here, or if you have a big Game Boy cartridge collection, you can pop it in this $30 handheld and play for up to 20 hours. Now, because it's $30, it doesn't have the best quality shell. It doesn't have the best quality buttons, but I can assure you this will last you for years to come. This one I've had for about 3 years now, and I do use it now and then, and it is quite good because the trading cable does work as well. If you want to trade Pokemon, you can, and it's good. It's just a good, cheap handheld, and the screen isn't bad either. The viewing angles is pretty good. So if you're after something incredibly cheap and you can't afford an original Game Boy or the Analogue Pocket, then this is a good one to go for, or to give a friend, because it can play your Game Boy cartridges, and it's one of the only ones that can out of China. I think it's a bit naughty, but hey ho, you can pick it up from AliExpress or even Amazon nowadays. So that's called the GB Boy Color, and they spell color like us here in the UK. Number 2, and this one is very, very good for the price. It's called the RG300 here. And this looks like the Analogue Pocket. It's got the back shoulder buttons. It's got a big 3-inch display. It's got USB-C charging, which can give you up to 5 hours of gameplay using this little battery at the back here. And it also supports games up to Mega Drive, which means you can install your own ROMs on here, and you can play Mega Drive, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy SNES, NES, Famicom, MAME, you name it. All of your old school games can be played on here, and it's a very nice Game Boy aesthetic looking device. It's got that nice little SNES controller logo, or imprint on the front there. And overall, for $40, this is something that you can chuck in all of your ROMs and you'll be able to play them. And this one here actually came preloaded with 3,000 games, which is very, very nice. So if none of you don't understand how to install ROMs, etc., this is a good one to pick up, and you'll have most of your popular games on there ready to play. The only problem with this for $40 is that it doesn't emulate PlayStation 1. So that one, the RG300, if you've got a bit more money. Now moving on to what I'm calling the Analogue Pocket Killer, because this thing is blowing up recently. You may have seen our reviews and our articles across the site, and it is this. This is the Retroid Pocket 2, and it is my favorite handheld out of China yet, ever. For $80, this thing can play PlayStation 1, N64, Dreamcast, Nintendo DS, Game Boy Advance, you name it. This thing here is phenomenal. Just because for $80, nobody's even coming close to the build quality and power of this, the Retroid Pocket 2. Now it's still in like pre-order phase, like it's just coming out. It literally came out a couple of weeks ago, so you can get it for $80. I think it will go up to about $90 in the next few weeks, but the build quality on this, you've got 4 shoulder buttons, 2 analog sticks, a big 3.5-inch IPS display, USB-C, which can run for 4 hours, and the best thing is an Android tablet, which means you can use Android apps as well, and you can use Steam Link in this thing, meaning you can play PC games on this little handheld. I love it. It's the newest handheld here, and I really do think it's going to blow up over the next few months. This thing is one to pick up. I've even ordered another 2 because I fell in love with it. They've got Game Boy Advance colors, they've got NES colors, they've got loads of different variants. This handheld here is the best handheld you will get for $80. It's phenomenal. So pick that up if you really do want an Analogue Pocket killer. You'll buy this, and I promise you, you won't need to buy the Analogue Pocket in May 2021. This thing is phenomenal, and next month in October, they're upgrading the OS to Android 8.1, which opens up even more Android apps. Just stunning, and the display is great as well. And you can connect that to HDMI up to your TV, use 8-bit Bluetooth controllers, and turn your lounge or your living room into a Mario Kart party. Very, very simple. Now, if you want something a bit more authentic, then you go for this. This is the ChromaWorks modified Game Boy Color here. I've got it in crystal white. It comes with a 2.2-inch backlit display, plays cartridges. It's got USB-C charging in here, which allows you to play the Game Boy Color for up to 20 hours. It's just authentic and original, and this will cost you half the price of an Analogue Pocket. Again, you can play all of your Game Boy and Game Boy Color cartridges. And if you wanted to play Game Boy Advance, they do a ton of, modded Game Boy Advances out there, which allows you to play Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance cartridges. I love this because it takes me back to the roots, like this thing here reminds me of the good old days when I was playing Pokemon Silver in the back of my mum's car, going on a little holiday to Butlins or some rubbish place like that. This thing here is the best way to play Game Boy Color cartridges, without a doubt, and it's only $100. And you can get different shells, different buttons, customize it whatever way you want. You can do it even cheaper if you do it yourself. We've done a ton of guides across the channel if you want to do that yourself. Now, moving on to $180, another new handheld that's only a month old. It is this. I think it ran out of battery. I heard it pop as I was doing this video, but this one here is called the PiBoy DMG. It's a Game Boy looking device with a Pi 4 or Raspberry Pi 4 inside. So it's basically got a PC inside. Now this thing can run everything up to Dreamcast as well. This thing is incredibly powerful. The cartridge doesn't come out, but they've modified the back for trigger buttons, so you can play your PlayStation 1 games, your Game Boy Advance, your Mega Drive games, whatever you need. It's got all of the buttons. It's got your analog stick on here as well, and you've got a huge 3.5-inch LCD display on the front. And because it's Raspberry Pi, you can customize it to the way you want. I use Retroid Pi in here. It's very, very easy to get around the user interface, and it's a very, very powerful handheld. The great thing with Raspberry Pis is that the community is huge, and they're forever adapting this thing. Yeah, it's run out of battery here. I knew that would happen. The community are always changing things, and because it's a Pi 4, it does get a little warm, but they've added in an internal fan to keep this thing nice and cool. So this thing here is for those of you that want an incredibly powerful handheld using a Raspberry Pi 4 internals. You've got your USBs up top and your Ethernet if you want to turn this into a computer. This is just extremely modular, and it's one for those of you that know your stuff in terms of Raspberry Pis, emulators, ROMs, etc. And for those of you that have got big boy money, it is this here. And I have yet to feature this. I've had it for some time. This is called the Moqi I7S, and it's basically a smartphone. This thing is generally a smartphone, but more specifically an Android gaming tablet that's perfect for playing all of your old school games. Like this thing can play up to Nintendo Wii. It's extremely powerful. Specs wise, you know, it's got a Snapdragon processor inside and 6 gigabytes of RAM, and it runs Android 8 as well. Because it's Android, it can run Android apps, Steam Link, etc. This thing is insane. You've got your camera on the back there, USB-C, and the quality of it, you know, it just feels like a brand new PSP, in all honesty. This thing is superb. The build quality is great. That huge 6-inch full HD display. This is one that, you know, it is an Analogue Pocket killer, but you're paying more than the Analogue Pocket. So it's for those of you that probably want something very, very hefty to take on those holidays or trips away, that you can dive into a ton of games in the Android App Store and your old school emulators as well. I don't want to share too much information with this because I have yet to review it properly, so I don't know too much about it, but I do know testing wise that it's playing a lot of emulators extremely well. So there you have it, a brief look at the 6 handhelds I think you should seriously consider if you're looking to buy something instead of the Analogue Pocket, or if you're buying something to wait for the Analogue Pocket to launch in May 2021. You've got your $30 like gag gift that can play your cartridges. You've got the RG300, which is, you know, the fake Analogue Pocket, let's say, that can do everything it can with a cheaper build quality. Your authenticity, you got the big boy money makers here that are extremely powerful, but this one here, the Retroid Pocket 2, is the all-round Analogue Pocket killer, in my honest opinion. Because it's so cheap, people are going to drift to it before the Analogue Pocket gets released, and then people are going to fall in love with it so much that they feel like they don't need the Analogue Pocket. So there you have it, guys. If you do have any questions, please comment them below. I will be on and off this video quite a bit to share my opinions and answer your questions. If not, just tweet me. I'll happily get in touch. There you have it, the Analogue Pocket killers. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are watching this towards May 2021, there probably is some newer handhelds out, so please do subscribe. Check out the channel. I do review handhelds a fair bit, and you may see something new that's out on the channel that I advise picking up instead of the Analogue Pocket. But for now, it's the Retroid Pocket 2 winning my heart. As per usual, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.